Last week, Castlevania fans everywhere wept bloody tears of joy when not only were Simon and Richter Belmont announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but also 34 music tracks from the series. Dracula's Castle stage featuring famous Castlevania bosses, and Death's Scythe as a new item. The announcement was amazing because with the exception of the Netflix show, Konami's pretty much left Castlevania to rot in Pachinko land alongside Metal Gear and Silent Hill, and it's nice to see so much Castlevania stuff being celebrated like this. It's almost like Nintendo's trying to make up for Konami completely tripping over their own balls for the past few years. Naturally, we're all extremely hyped, myself especially, for all the cool remixed Castlevania music we're going to be treated to. But this Smash announcement has me thinking, remembering, and my mind wanders back to 2014 with the surprising and yet, in hindsight, entirely obvious announcement of another third-party retro mascot steeped in Nintendo historia. Back when Mega Man was announced for Smash, it came at kind of a rough patch for the Blue Bomber. Shortly before then, Capcom had cancelled Mega Man Legends 3, as well as Mega Man Universe, and some sort of first-person X reboot called Maverick Hunter. Longtime series stepfather, artist, and director Keiji Motherfucker had left the company, and the most recent release was some sort of bizarre iPhone flash game based on Mega Man X, where you had a fur coat and you had a button to win the game for you. It was not a good time for Mega Man. But the Smash reveal of Mega Man was huge. It was a shot in the arm for the Mega Man community seeing the little guy from the NES games in 3D for the first time. The stage was awesome, the music was awesome, Yellow Devil was awesome, it was a great time. But that wasn't all for Mega Man fans to look forward to because the hotly anticipated spiritual successor Mighty No. 9 was just around the corner. Helmed by Keiji Inafune, the project became one of the biggest funding success stories on Kickstarter, and hopes were high. Well, we all know how that one turned out, but hey, the dream wasn't dead after all because now Mega Man 11 is happening, and personally I think it looks fantastic. I think Capcom's gonna do a bang-up job, and I think it's due in no small part to the hype and subsequent letdown that was Mighty No. 9, as well as the sheer enormity of the Smash announcement. They realized that a market was still there, people still love Mega Man as much as ever, and since Mighty No. 9 crashed and burned, they made the wise business decision to swoosh on in there and capitalize on that market. Now let's flash back to the present day here, and unfortunately Rob Schneider is still alive and kicking, so I guess I lost that bet. You may have noticed by this point that Castlevania has a lot in common with Mega Man. They're both beloved classic platformers from the NES era. They both have a reputation for being tough as nails. They both rose out of the 80s and had a pretty good showing in the Genesis and the SNES, but both series made a couple of mistakes in the later 90s. Neither series ever quite made the transition to 3D like Mario or Zelda or something, as much as I personally love and recommend the 3D PS2 Castlevania games. Both series produced tons of really similar games on the Game Boy Advance and DS. Then in the later 2000s, after some remakes and ports and things for both series on the PSP, Mega Man and Castlevania just kinda faded away. Mega Man 9 and 10 came out, and so did the Castlevania reboot thing, which was just wrong. But it seemed more and more like Konami and Capcom had just lost all interest in some of their most recognizable classics. They both had longtime veteran series directors leave their respective companies under different circumstances, Inafune from Capcom and Koji Igarashi from Konami. And both of these directors had since gone on to head wildly successful Kickstarters looking to fund spiritual successors to their games. Again, we know how this fucking trash fire turned out, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's no hope for Bloodstained, Igarashi's successor to Castlevania. After all, we recently got Curse of the Moon, a sort of appetizer game to the full game made by Inti Creates, and it was great. The demo for the main game, Ritual of the Night, looks pretty good overall, save for some crusty presentation here and there.
Yeah! Yeah!
Is it just me, or is that way louder than anything else?
Huh! Yeah! Oh, yeah!
It seems like it plays pretty well, but that's okay. Bloodstained doesn't need to fail for Castlevania to come back. Two could easily coexist. It wouldn't be hard for Konami to see the hype surrounding Bloodstained, surrounding Simon and Richter's appearance in Smash, and realize the easy business opportunity here. I'm not putting it past Konami to completely remain with their heads in their asses until the heat death of the universe, but imagine if they were a competent company instead for 5 minutes. It doesn't take much to find some indie dev with a good track record and a fondness for Castlevania, and get them to make the next game in the series for a paycheck of eggshells. Hell, get Inti Creates to do it, that would be awesome. Or get fans to make it, like with Sonic Mania. Then you can throw it on Steam, PS4, Switch, and Xbone for $30 and make a massive profit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we're due for a Castlevania 64 HD re-release in summer 2019, but it's not hard to recognize the stunning parallels between these two series. I guess you could say I'm taking the optimistic view. I'm hoping for a future for Castlevania. I'm hoping Bloodstained has a strong showing as well, because damn that soundtrack. And I'm hopeful for the future of the Mega Man franchise as well. Oh, God. Oh, good God. No, no. Capcom, please stop raping that tiny little robot boy's corpse. He's been dead for 10 years. At least Castlevania's cartoon is good. What the hell were they thinking with this piss? That's Dr. Wily, you